our next session, which it means that I'm going to be welcoming to the stage someone who will be known to all of you here in Denmark, Troels Lund Poulsen. Please join me on the stage. Apologies for murdering your pronunciation there.
Oh, that's okay.
You've put up with worse in politics, haven't you?
Yes.
That front line of defence in Denmark. So this session that we're rolling straight into is securing Ukraine's military needs. And we have with us as a video, sadly unable to join us, but you can sort of see who everybody is there on the board behind us. Sorry, I probably have introduced you better. Troels Lund Poulsen, Deputy Prime Minister and Defence Minister, Denmark. Busy man. And Rustem, Umerov, the Defence Minister of Ukraine, who will be joining us now virtually with a message, and then we'll get our conversation going.
Honourable participants and guests, I'm honoured to have the possibility to address the highly esteemed audience. Dear Troels, I want to thank you personally for your active involvement and support. The progress that we have made during the last couple of months in establishing Ukraine-Danish defense cooperation is remarkable. And I hope soon the results of our cooperation will be tangible for our warriors on the battlefield. I'm standing in front of you today representing the Ukrainian people to extend our deepest gratitude to the government and people of Denmark for the significant and steadfast support and solidarity with Ukraine following the Russian invasion. Today is 811th day since the beginning of the full-scale Russian invasion of Ukraine. The enemy's offensive actions have intensified significantly. In a number of front-line areas, the Russians are trying to break through our defense lines using dozens of tanks, armored personnel vehicles, and human wave attacks. As before, they don't care about any losses, and we still feel a lack of appropriate weapons and ammunition to disrupt the Russian offensive actions. In particular, we need more artillery shells, as Russia is still many times ahead of us in this indicator. Under such conditions, it's extremely difficult to hold the ground. Therefore, we continue to build fortifications, setting up 3 level defense lines stretching over 1,000 kilometers. While not having strategic success on the battlefield, Russia seeks to destroy everything that it cannot capture and continues to intimidate and terrorize Ukrainian civilians by attacking the critical infrastructure and residential areas. Russia's main advantage on the battlefield now is the widespread use of guided aerial bombs. These bombs, which weigh up 1.5 tons, allow the Russian occupiers to destroy all around and then advance through the ruins. Only in 2024, Russia launched more than 9,000 guided aviation bombs. The only way to counter this barbaric tactic is to shoot down the planes and drop these bombs, which requires sufficient number of modern air defense systems at the front. Strong air defense on the front lines would allow our troops not only to protect their positions, but also to force the Russians to retreat. Modern aircraft for us are a crucial part of our air defense. With Danish support, we expect to see the first F-16s in our sky in near future. We do appreciate Denmark for its pivotal role in the air capability coalition. It shows leadership and commitment that goes beyond mere partnership and geopolitical transactions. Your decision to provide F-16 to Ukraine will not only bolster Ukrainians' aerial might, but also enhance our overall defense capabilities across multiple domains. This strategic foresight will significantly enhance the operational readiness for our forces. However, the mission continues. We would appreciate the further support from the Kingdom of Denmark and other allies to secure the financial assistance necessary for weapon acquisitions and aircraft updates. This will ensure the long-term effectiveness of the F-16s. I would also like to express my deep appreciation for Denmark's steadfast contributions to the capabilities, coalitions, and initiatives. Your input is extremely valuable for us, particularly to support formation of new army brigades. Creation of fully equipped brigades is a milestone for a successful military campaign. Beyond the strategic significance of a military aid lies a profound emotional connection between our nations. The courage and resolve displayed by the Ukrainian military and bolstered by Danish support serve as a testament to the strengths derived from our united front. The emotional resonance of our shared commitment to the peace and security resonates deeply within the hearts of our people, forging an unbreakable bond that transcends borders. In closing, I extend my sincere gratitude to the dignitaries present here today. Your continued support and solidarity are invaluable as we strive to overcome the challenges that lie ahead. Together, let us forge a path towards a future defined by peace, prosperity, and cooperation. Slava Ukraini!
So there was Rustem Umerov sounding very grateful for the support that Denmark has been offering. How important do you see that as being, both in terms of where you want to see Denmark positioned in this crisis, in this broader international compact, in the times that we're living in, but also it's a wonderful country, it's a relatively small country. So why do you think it's Denmark's job to get on with this when perhaps other countries with even larger budgets are maybe standing aside a bit?
First of all, I think all countries should do what they can to support Ukraine. And for the last over 2 years, there's been a broad agreement in the Danish parliament to be very supportive to Ukraine. We were also a year ago, or even more than a year ago, created this fund for Ukraine, and we have established the possibility to donate more than 9 billion euros from 2022 to 2028. And I think that shows that there is a huge support in Denmark, also publicly, for the fight for freedom in Ukraine. And that's the reason why we are also trying to inspire other countries to be as supportive as we can, because as we have heard here today, Ukraine needs ammunition, they need artillery, they need the support also in the future.
There's a bit of a paradox here in that Denmark was not keeping up with the NATO targets. In fact, it had fallen quite far below them over a consistent time, including in 2014 when Ukraine was invaded. Do you have a degree of regret about that?
We have made new agreements, so now we have fulfilled the 2%. We did that last year. And also we have made a very broad political agreement last June. So we will in the future be able to meet the 2% and also the 20% for military acquisition. But of course, I would say quite many countries around here in Europe, but also NATO countries, have not been willing to pay the bill for our own security here in Europe. And I think what we have seen in Ukraine has shown us that Europe has to step up, because we cannot be so dependable on the US. Of course, we have a huge tradition for working and also long history working with the US, but we have to do more here in Europe, and we have also to spend even more. And that's the reason why we have decided to make this new defense agreement in Denmark for the next 10 years, so we will be able to spend 2% of GDP and also meet the 20%.
I mean, in some ways, not to pick on Denmark, because Copenhagen's a bad place to pick on Denmark, but you're in an analogous situation perhaps a bit with Germany and the UK, that there's been underinvestment in your own armed forces. I think I would I get a yes from that, at the same time as you now want to go into the bigger picture, and as we heard from Mr. Umerov, be very much on the front line of support for Ukraine. So do you accept that there is a catching up job to do?
Yeah, indeed. There's a huge job to be done. And that's also the reason why we have been trying to be in the forefront for some different initiatives from the Danish government. Last year, we, together with Germany, made a proposal to do training activities for the F-16, and that has been quite a huge success. We have also decided to donate 19 F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine. There was a huge discussion last year, but we made it possible last year in May, and we started the training activities in August. Hopefully this summer we will deliver the first batch of F-16s.
Is that training period adequate for the way that they need to be used, obviously, by definition, in particularly dangerous circumstances?
It is quite a difficult question to answer because...
I asked it.
Yeah, I know. We're doing what we can because being a fighter pilot, I would say it under normal circumstances will take about 6 years here in Denmark. So doing the training activities for only 1 year, that's a very, very rapid way of dealing with this. I think we'll be able to have success, and the pilots are doing quite well. But besides that, we have also educated mechanics and service personnel, so they will also be able to take care of the maintenance when they will have the first fighter jets.
A question that's come in from the audience here. Can the Danish donated weapons and F-16s be used by Ukraine to target military or infrastructure goals in Russian territory? And will Denmark work for international support on a general level for such a decision?
We will be donating the 19 fighter jets for supporting Ukraine, but also for being able to defend Ukrainian territory. What else we will be having as caveats, I don't think I'll be so public with here today.
So you're not being so public about
the caveats?
The caveats?
Yes.
Well, that's sort of implicit.
It is.
I mean, don't your elected, your voters sort of need to get some sort of answer to that, even if you can't or shouldn't give away any information that could benefit Russia?
Ukraine have asked for the F-16s for quite long, and we have been the first country to make that donation. So I think, in fact, we have been willing to support Ukraine with the need, and the needs will be having the fighter jets delivered. And Ukraine asked for the fighter jets to protect Ukraine territory, and that will be our proposed way forward.
Ukraine is still suffering from chronic shortages. We heard Mr. Yevak earlier talking about that and saying, bring us the equipment, bring us the weapons, and we will be able to supply those willing to fight. But there's been some delay in Western funding, as we know. How worried are you that the offensive around Kharkiv could push Ukrainian forces back further, or at least bog down a lot of effort there, which I would guess would be a part of the tactical consideration there by Russia's armed forces, while that leaves a lot of Ukraine struggling to get the weapons, the vicious cycle that has accompanied so much of this war? How optimistic are you about this period?
I am a bit optimistic that the Ukrainian forces will have the will and also the capabilities to fight back against Russia. But of course, the last couple of months has been quite crucial in the eastern part of Ukraine. And that's also the reason why I think we have to step up. Right now, as Umerov just mentioned, we have this Danish initiative. Hopefully we can announce later this month that Denmark would buy military equipment in Ukraine, produced in Ukraine. That would be the first country that would buy military equipment produced in Ukraine. I think it would be a way forward also for other countries. It will be more fast to make the deliveries to the Eastern Front, and it will also be more cheaper to have these investments. The military equipment produced in Ukraine would also be able to have a more modern way of being a part of service and also spare parts, that kind of thing. So the thing of maintenance in the front area is also quite crucial, because some of the things that we have seen being donated to Ukraine have been moved from the front to the western part for spare parts, that kind of thing. So being able to buy military military equipment produced in Ukraine, I think that would be a great advantage for the military in Ukraine.
We live in very changeable times, electorally as much in the West as the challenges to democracy that we're here at the summit to talk about. How do you feel about a prospective change in the White House and how that would affect any ongoing deliveries of weapons to Ukraine, given that that vote in Congress was still pretty tight, particularly on the Republican side?
First of all, I'm very happy to see that the US now have made it possible to have this huge package through the Congress. I think that was also quite necessary. But looking ahead this year, I think whether it will be Biden or Trump that will be president, I think the message from the US to Europe would be that you have to spend more money on your own security. So I think we should be aware that that would be the outcome of the elections.
Yeah, I'm interested that you say that. But on the Power Play podcast the last weeks, we've been in the US, and we've also spoken, obviously, both sides of the aisle in detail about their plans on Ukraine and indeed defence of Europe in general. And that's absolutely a message that we've got from Elbridge Colby, who's quite close to Trump, was in the first Trump administration. You probably know he was responsible for the kind of false projection sort of idea around Donald Trump then may well come back. But we're hearing quite similar things. Sometimes maybe the odd phrase might differ if you're in Trump world or Biden world. Do you think that really Europe is going to have to step up faster than you're seeing the readiness to do so when you go to other capitals? I'll let you off the hook on Denmark on this one.
I think we have to speed up the investments, and I think also we will see the outcome of that during this year and also next year. Right now we are discussing in Europe how we can produce more military equipment here in Europe. We are so dependable on the US, and that's okay to be dependable on the US, but we have to be able to produce our own ammunition, but also more needed military equipment. So I think that will also be the outcome of the discussions right now.
Rising defence budgets in Europe foreseeably on a trajectory that's not going to change.
We have seen that quite many countries have been able to spend more on defence, but I think there will be an ongoing discussion about defence spending the next couple of years.
I really should let you go, but I've got such a good question. I would love to, which is probably going to be a haiku-like answer, but I should ask it because it's a very good one from, thank you, whoever it was in the audience. China continues to support Russia in its invasion of Ukraine, either directly or through Hong Kong. How does Denmark address this issue? Just a word on that before we close.
We are saying internationally that we don't see any way forward that countries would support Russia. We are very much against that. But I think we have also to get an even broader agreement internationally that the sanctions that have been put to Russia, that they will also be put through.
Thank you very much indeed. I think we'll leave it there. Troels Poulsen, Deputy Prime Minister, great to hear from you. And I think we should also thank Rustem Umerov, even if he can't hear us. I'm sure he'd appreciate a round of applause in the room for your support. Thank you.